Hello and welcome to the first episode of Kwani's official review. Now, if you're a sports fan, you're most likely gonna automatically like this show. But if you're not a sports fan, you're probably wondering, well, why should I keep watching? In most games, when a controversial play occurs and the players don't know what they just did, the audience is like, why did the ref just say that if that's not what just happened? And the refs actually didn't pay attention, so they just made up a call as they were going along. Usually a timeout is called, and it's time for an official review. They go in the booth and go into greater depth into seeing what just happened. The NFL does it, NBA does it. Major League Baseball doesn't do it, but I think we all agree that the game's already long enough as it is. Now, when people think of sports, they often think of exciting plays and star players, when in reality, sports is one of the biggest influences in American culture. Back in 1968, when Tommy Smith and John Carlos did the Black Power movement on the Olympic stand, they made a statement. And even more recently, when the New York Giants and their Say No campaign against domestic violence and sexual assault, these people have influence. It's kind of funny how the athlete is often stereotyped as a dumb jock, when in reality there's a lot we can learn from their work ethic, passion, motivations, and even their mistakes. These ways of thinking are things that can motivate us in our everyday lives. But don't get me wrong, we're here for the good, the bad, the ugly, and the uncomfortable. Because it's not an official review if we don't get deep. So let's get started. So let's take a look at Coach Monty Williams, the associate head coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder, a team in the NBA. So last month in February, he lost his wife Ingrid in a tragic car accident. Another woman was driving in the opposite direction with her dog in her car and crossed the middle line in the road. Miss Williams was hit in that accident. Now, the woman and her dog were killed on impact, but Miss Williams later on died in the hospital. And yet, despite this, I want you to take a look at this short clip of Monty Williams after the tragic event.
Everybody's praying for me and my family, which is right. But let us not forget that there were two people in this situation. And that family needs prayer as well. In my house, we have a sign that says, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. We cannot serve the Lord if we don't have a heart of forgiveness. That family didn't wake up wanting to hurt my wife. Life is hard. It is very hard. And that was tough. But we hold no ill will towards the Donaldson family. And we, as a group, brothers united in unity, should be praying for that family because they grieve as well.
Now, this is a man that just lost the love of his life, the mother to his 5 children, and yet in this time of grief, he was able to take a step back and realize that life eventually has to go on, and though he will deeply miss her, he has to forgive. Holding on to that bitterness is not really going to benefit him in the long run, and at the end of the day, the family of the other woman will be mourning too. And that lesson of forgiveness is something that each and every one of us can take. And now we move on to the Legion of Boom. Well, a member of the Legion of Boom. Kam Chancellor, defensive back for the Seattle Seahawks. Now, this guy is one-time Super Bowl champ, 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time NFC champion. And yet that meant nothing a few days ago when he wanted to scope out a gym in Redmond, Washington. Let me read you the tweets. The funniest thing just happened to me in Redmond. I went to go get info on a gym that was closed, and 2 ladies called the cops on me. They told the cops I was trying to rob the place because I was looking into the glass asking for help. I took a picture of the 2 employees. Good thing the cops know I'm a good guy and stealing isn't in my blood. I work for everything I get. TMZ obtained an audio copy of the phone call, which I quote, the woman said, "I don't know if they're homeless kids." Later on she says, "I know there used to be a lot of heroin addicts around here. So you're telling me this big buff guy, very much in shape, looks like a heroin addict to you and homeless." Now, later on, the club issued a statement, the athletic facility, saying that this is what, well, the owner said that this is what he tells his employees to do when they suspect something suspicious, to call the cops if they don't feel safe. Okay, but here we have Kam Chancellor, who actually runs a boot camp for women because he's obviously very much about fitness, and he just loves doing good for his community. I mean, the first contract that he signed with the Seahawks, he went and bought his mother a Lexus and a new house. Now, this doesn't sound like a bad guy to me. Now, I understand maybe he should have came earlier in the day and tried to get information, but this could be conceived as an issue. A lot of people say that black people love to pull the race card when issues happen and we're accused of doing wrong. Well, the same thing happened to James Blake last year in New York City, where he was mistaken for someone who had committed identity theft. This man was at one point the number 4 tennis player in the world, and he was at that moment helpless, all because of the color of his skin. They looked at him and they saw a criminal. Why is that? And finally, let's look at Brandi Chastain. Now, that name may or may not ring a bell. In 1999, she kicked the winning penalty kick, which helped the U.S. defeat China in the World Cup. No offense to my Chinese friends. I love y'all. But here's the deal. She wants to donate her brain to science, and especially for the research of CTE, also commonly referred to as chronic traumatic encephalopathy. If you try to say that 3 times fast, you probably will not succeed, because I could barely say it the first time. On December 25th of last year, Will Smith starred in a movie called Concussion, which was basically a untimely Christmas present for the NFL, where he hoped to spark conversation about CTE and concussions in general. Now, Brandi Chastain will forever be a legend in women's soccer and U.S. soccer history, but she wants her legacy to live on even longer. This is what she said: "If there's any information to be gleaned off the study of someone like myself who has played soccer for 40 years, it feels like my responsibility." She said, people talk about the 99 group, what they did for women's soccer. They say, oh, you left a legacy for the next generation. And she says that this will be a more substantial legacy, which is true. If you enjoyed this, be sure to subscribe, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Pinterest, Tumblr. It list goes on. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.